Thank you. This is a big day because we're about to provide tax relief to millions of people in Ohio and around the country. Middle-class tax cuts, doubling the standard deduction, doubling the child tax credit, lower rates for people every bracket. We have the opportunity in my home state of Ohio to see people who are making $50,000 a year with 2 kids to see a 26% tax cut, as an example. And that's important. My colleague just talked about his concern about some of the provisions that are before us. Now, I will say these have all been filed. That doesn't always happen around here, and it should. But these have all been filed, and people can go on rpc.senate.gov. These are made public. Nothing is on this list that hasn't been filed publicly. And just looking at it, the biggest one that my colleague talks about as being something to help rich people is the deduction for property taxes. And it's capped at $10,000. But there is a deduction here for allowing people to deduct their property taxes, which is incredibly important for middle-class families around the country. Some people on the other side want to go much further and provide much larger deductions and make those for state and local taxes. And by the way, their proposal would go primarily to upper income people, the proposal that they have, because that benefit goes primarily to those who are making higher incomes. And so how's it paid for? It's a $10,000 deduction for property tax. It's paid for exactly the provision that my colleague from Oregon just complained about, because he said that he wanted to be sure that people had to pay an alternative minimum tax, and that alternative minimum tax is being used to pay for this middle-class tax cut we're talking about. So anyway, that's the biggest item here by far. Second biggest is for the pass-through companies. These are the smaller businesses in America, and it's to try to have some more parity between the pass-through companies and the so-called C corporations. Again, something really important to small businesses in my home state of Ohio and around the country. So I encourage him to take a look. All these have been filed. He can look at them now, or he can go online, as any citizen can, and take a look at these things. And, you know, I will just say that at the end of the day, I know that we had a difference of opinion on whether there should be tax cuts or not. But we think that tax relief is appropriate right now. We think that middle-class families that have not seen an increase in their wages, not just for the last few years, but the last couple decades, need a little help. Their expenses have not gone down. They've gone up. Wages have been flat. That middle-class squeeze is addressed through these tax cuts. On average, about $2,375 for an Ohio median income family. That's important. People who are working paycheck to paycheck will find this to be incredibly important. Maybe they can put a little more money aside for retirement. Maybe it can help with their health care costs, which have gone up dramatically as wages have been flat. Maybe they can help people to be able to buy that car or to make that car payment if they already have that car. So these are real tax cuts. They're going to help middle-class families. And again, I'm hoping my colleagues will look at some of these changes, like the $10,000 deduction for property taxes, paid for with the alternative minimum tax changes, and help us to be able to make this legislation even more generous to folks in the middle class, as they say they are for. With that, I would like to ask my colleague from South Carolina who's with us, who has been very involved in the child tax credit, ensuring that that's there, ensuring we have a reduction of the brackets, if he would have a few comments on those.